Good morning and welcome to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. Along with DC Hendricks, I'm Jim Shovlin. Thanks so much for tuning in as we're talking local sports of all sorts until the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. If you'd like to be part of the show, you can do so via the text line at 260-447-8500. That's 260-447-8500. Got a great show lined up for you today. We are going to be talking momentarily with Justin Kenny from OPS and OutsideTheHuddle.net regarding week 2 of the high school football season that is in the books, except for, well, one game that is being played tonight at Andrean with the Bishop Luers Knights as the opponent. And but otherwise, pretty much everything is all taken care of for week 2 in the history books. So we'll talk to Justin in just a minute or so about week 2. And then we'll talk with Mike Nutter in one of our final Tincap chats. We have just a couple games left in the regular home season for the Tincaps. And then the return of Mike McCaffrey and the Cougar chat.
Let's go.
That's right. The Cougars played the Campbellsville Tigers, who are ranked 20th in NAIA in the preseason poll. Cougs are 24, I believe. So we will talk to Mike about that and other things, all things Cougar athletics, just a little bit later on in the show. So we got a great show lined up for you. So without further ado, let's go right to the Talkin Sports phone line, powered by Fire Police City County Federal Credit Union. And we really, really, really hope to find Mr. Justin Kenny on the other end. Justin, are you there?
Do we?
I am very much there. Shut up, DC.
Hey, don't make me get in between you two. I'm telling you, don't make me turn this studio around. Yeah. But
it is a pleasure to talk to you guys this morning, no matter what DC Hendricks says.
Well, let's talk a little bit about week 2 of the high school football season. And, well, let's start out in the SAC. The Carroll Chargers hosted the Center Grove Trojans last night at Carroll. And I'll tell you what, it was an exciting football game. There was a lot of scoring, and there was a lot of Jaden Van Pelt for the Carroll Chargers, although in a losing cause, 35-24 in favor of the Trojans. But 9 catches for Mr. Freisinger, 227 yards, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns on the evening. And you look back, and if Mr. Van Pelt would have been healthy and available for week 1, would have been a different story then.
Very well could have been, and you didn't have JVP last week. But this was despite the loss, and you guys talked to Doug Dinan in the pregame show yesterday about just how important these games are as teams in the SAC try to close the gap with the teams in Indianapolis. And I thought what was very impressive last night was Gabe Freisinger at quarterback, 345 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. He was the guy that very much looked like a guy making his first start last week. Now, it didn't do him any favors of where he was having to start at HSE, but I think the Carroll offense and Carroll in general have to feel pretty good about where they're at after 2 weeks, despite being 0-2. I know people will be like, well, okay, who's the favorite in the SAC? And they want to look at this 2-0 team and that 2-0 team. I still think it's the Carroll Chargers, guys, and I think there was a lot to like about last night's game.
Boy, there certainly was. Yeah, and as we talked about Van Pelt, as you said, with Freisinger throwing for, 345 yards or so, somewhere around there, Van Pelt wasn't the only target. And so, he was spreading the ball around just a little bit. Van Pelt had a couple of long touchdown runs, and but it was just, if Gabe Freisinger did the job. And that's what everybody thought. Would there be a letdown after Jimmy Sullivan exits and heads to Iowa? So Gabe Freisinger is doing everything he needs to do. And like you said, hey, maybe the first week was a little, baptism by fire, getting used to things. And then here we are at the varsity speed now as well. And so they did a very good job. Other games last night up in Kendallville, it was East Noble over Snyder, 29-7. Did you see a 22-point margin of victory coming here?
No, I did not. I felt like East Noble potentially had the edge in this game, but I did not expect what we saw last night up in Kendallville. I mean, the dominance that we saw out of East Noble, and it was set early on. Snyder goes 3-and-out effectively in its first drive to start the game. And then East Noble got the ball close to its 20 and went on about a 6.5-minute drive where it just grinded out yards, 5 yards here, 3 yards there, 6 yards here, 4 yards there. And it was very much Snyder-esque in terms of the defense just had no answer to contain East Noble. And it was death by 1,000 cuts on that first drive. And it really set the tone. And it was more of the same the rest of the game. What Snyder is known for in terms of dominating in the trenches and effectively demoralizing you with its run game is exactly what East Noble did to Snyder last night. And what caught me by surprise was just the ability of East Noble to really out-physical Snyder, and not just in the trenches, but guys running the ball and barreling over Snyder players. Like, that's just not what you see against Snyder. And so it was very much a credit to East Noble, but also raises concerns for me for Snyder heading into the SAC. East Noble's no joke, but okay. Now, so what does Bishop DeWenger do to Snyder? What does Carroll do to Snyder? And that's maybe the concern for the Panthers coming out of last night, but you can't help but be very, very impressed with East Noble, and especially with what they lost to graduation, right? And for them to just kind of pick up where they left off is very, very impressive.
And, of course, speaking of Bishop DeWenger, in preseason we talked about the fact that Bishop DeWenger was going to be, putting the ball in the end zone quite a bit more frequently than perhaps they have in the past. And then they come out in week one and get shut out 3-0. But they put 31 points on the board last night against St. Francis de Sales out of the Toledo, Ohio area. And St. Francis is a team that, although the record doesn't indicate it, they play some pretty stiff competition in their season. So this has to bode well for Jason Garrett and the Saints.
Absolutely does. I mean, this was a team in St. Francis that brought over a couple D1 prospects. A D lineman is committed to Rutgers, a running back committed to Michigan. So I don't know how he gets away from committing to Michigan while he's in Ohio, but story for another day. But this was a big night for Bishop DeWenger, guys, because so many questions coming out of week one and not being able to get on the scoreboard. The defense played phenomenal in week one, even without Houston Ellinger, arguably their best all-around player. But for Bishop DeWenger to go out and do what they did last night, Beckham Russell, a couple touchdown receptions. Henry Jordan looked much more comfortable than he did in week one. Defense was legit. Carter Zinn, a pick six. Old Dougie Henry with 15 tackles and a forced fumble to fumble recovery. I mean, just a complete performance out of Bishop DeWenger last night, and much needed. And what it does now is very much sets the tone for Bishop DeWenger heading into the SAC season, particularly with a season in which, could very much be up for grabs in terms of an SAC championship. And now they go to Wayne next week for a big one at Carroll in week 4. And you're feeling a lot better about Bishop DeWenger all around after what happened last night compared to the week 1 loss at Roncalli.
Yes, and due to this tough preseason schedule of all the Summit Athletic Conference teams, after next Friday, we will only have one team in the SAC that's unbeaten. because Northrop and Northside go at it at Spooler Stadium next Friday night. And they are the only two teams that are unblemished right now at 2-0. And the Northside Legends beat New Haven last night 39-23, and once again showcasing their skill level talent.
They did, and it sets up what could be just a first to 60 type game next week against Northrop. But this game, New Haven, credit to New Haven, who looked completely outclassed last week against Northrop, and they really hung in this game against Northside. Scored first, trailed by just 6 points in the third quarter before Northside was really able to run away with it. But Jaden Rivers, another huge Friday night for Northside, 372 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Jarmeek Harrison, a big night, 169 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Just too much athleticism for Northside on the field. But I thought it was very impressive with what the Legends were able to do up front. I mean, a couple of those touchdowns, I think both with Jarmeek, were just short screen passes that erupted into long runs. And the key on those screens is blocking all around, and that's what's going to be the key for Northside as they get into the SAC schedule and see if they can compete with the top teams in the league. And so for Northside, 2-0 for the first time since 2012, and all of a sudden the Northrop and Northside game is a big game in the SAC. Yeah. What year is this, fellas? It's crazy.
1997. It's been a while, but this is great to see. And, it's going to be, like you said, first to 60 in this one, perhaps. But if somebody steps up and makes some defensive plays, that's going to put an advantage in their on their sideline. But some of the other scores from that, well, of course, let's talk Northrop. In the Northrop Bruins, 31-23 over the Huntington North Vikings last night. David Callison finds Quay Guilford twice, good for 129 yards, and others. But once again, skill position players are getting it done for the Bruins right now.
They are, and it's been a very telling couple weeks for Northrop. Last week with the shutout over New Haven, and people were like, okay, New Haven is rebuilding, but they went out and scored 23 points against Northside, so that offense is somewhat decent. And then last night, Huntington North gets up 20-6 in this game, and people around town seeing that score like, okay, Northrop just got exposed. Mm-hmm. And what Northrop was able to do, 25 unanswered points, and win this game, is lesson 2 with the Bruins in terms of maybe this isn't your typical Northrop football team. Last week, defense shows out. Last night, they don't lose focus, falling down 14 points. So 2 really big wins for Northrop in how they did it in the first 2 weeks of the season. And you mentioned Callison to Guilford, once again, was a big connection for them. Robert Rembert, a couple touchdown runs, the sophomore sensation. I thought Lathan James played pretty well for Huntington North, replacing Tony Decker at QB1 and coming in and playing and giving some good time for the Vikings. But for Northrop, it's a very impressive win in how they did it once again, and they're 2-0 for the first time, I think, since 2010, I want to say. But really interesting is what they're going to be able to do heading in. No, they were actually 2-0 in 2020 when they beat Homestead in week 1. But next week, very telling. Biggest game for Northrop in quite some time next week as they try to open the SAC season with a statement win over Northside.
We're talking this morning with Justin Kenny from OPS and OutsideTheHuddle.net regarding week 2 of the high school football season. And continuing on, the Homestead Spartans shut out 35-0 last week. Got in the win column against Noblesville, 13-10 for the Spartans, and this was a big one for Chad Zolman.
This, to me, guys, is the most impressive win of last night because Homestead was completely outclassed by Westfield, and a lot of teams are completely outclassed by Westfield, so there's nothing really to be ashamed by that. But now you have to go to a Noblesville team that while it's not Westfield last year by 43 points, shut out Homestead 2 years ago, 42-0, and you're inserting your QB2 in replacement of the injured Michael White with junior Logan Frieden making his first ever start. And so it was definitely stacked against Homestead heading into this game at Noblesville. And what the Spartans were able to do last night was very, very impressive. Going down there, defensively played lights out. Logan Frieden makes the plays when they needed them. A late touchdown that puts Homestead ahead and wins the game for them effectively. And this was just a big, huge win all around for the Homestead Spartans. You know, they had struggled in the non-conference the last couple of years. They played Carmel tough a couple of years ago, but Carmel and Noblesville pretty much owned Homestead. Now they have Westfield last week, and then now Noblesville last night. And to get that win is very, very impressive. Now Homestead gets Southside on the road to open the SAC. You feel a lot more positive about the Homestead Spartans after last night than you did this time last week, despite losing Michael White, who is maybe is definitely one of the best all-around quarterbacks in this entire area.
A few more scores from around the Summit Athletic Conference at Eastbrook beating Concordia 41-14. Wayne falls to South Bend Riley 33-6, and Southside was shut out by South Bend St. Joe 26-0. Let's move to the NE8, and let's start out with Columbia City. Columbia City took on kind of a struggling Plymouth program, and this was kind of expected, 35-13 over the Rockies.
Good win by Columbia City and very much a dominant performance. Didn't have a completion last week, guys, so Gabe McDevitt erupts for 5 completions last night for Columbia City, 3 of which went for touchdowns. Braden Elkins was the recipient of 2 of those touchdown passes for Columbia City. Plymouth held to just 2 of 18 on third down, which is not going to get it done. And when you look at challengers to East Noble in the NE8, could Columbia City be that team? And they won't meet until week 7, so we'll have to wait for that. But Columbia City, a good win last week to start the season at a good Northwood team, and then a beatdown of Plymouth. They'll get Belmont and Huntington North back-to-back weeks on the road to begin NE8 play.
And, of course, Leo in a Week 1 victory over the Bishop Luers Knights, 14-7. There again, you don't know exactly what you're getting. We don't know where these two teams are at this point in the season, but then Leo comes out in Week 2, and they have an annual opponent in the Angola Hornets, beat them 21-6. Nate Foster once again. But another one, don't go to sleep on a guy by the name of Kellen Hulbert. Pretty much does just about anything and everything for the Lions, plays on both sides of the ball, and finds the end zone with some regularity.
He does, and I thought he was the hero last week in Week 1 with his punting ability, just being able to flip the field and make Bishop Luers work their way all the way down the field, and they really weren't able to all game. But last night, another great performance by that defense. You know, they limit Luers to 7 points Week 1, limit Angola to 6 points Week 2. Another big night for Nathan Foster, 145 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. Titus Stoller, I think, has been really impressive through 2 weeks at quarterback. As long as they're able to run the football, they're not going to ask Stoller to do too much in the passing game, and they're going to be able to run it with a really fierce offensive front and, of course, Nathan Foster. But Stoller, the senior, 166 yards passing and 2 touchdowns last night. One of those went to Hulbert, as you mentioned. Leo 2-0, they want to be the team that can lay claim to being that biggest threat to East Noble and the NE8, and they will go to Norwell next week to start the NE8 season.
Yes, indeed. Other scores from around the NE8 had DeKalb beating Garrett 28-7. It was Oak Hill 30, Norwell 25, and South Adams from the ACAC blanks Belmont 53-0. And taking a look at the Allen County Athletic Conference, Adams Central and Eastside went at it and at Eastside, and it was the Flying Jets 32-21 over the Eastside Blazers.
And this was a fun one up at Butler last night, guys. Very much back and forth early on. Adams Central was able to pull away in the second half in the fourth quarter, and Adams Central scored the final 13 points after falling behind 21-20 in this game. So teams combined for 834 yards, guys, last night. So plenty of movement of the ball last night between these two teams. Vance Miller and Jamison Roach, 232 yards on the ground combined, 4 touchdowns, and Adams Central gets the dub. How about Joe Richmond, though, guys, last night for Eastside? 342 total yards and 3 touchdowns. And it was a Richmond to Jake Warsler 57-yard touchdown, put Eastside up 21-20 before Adams Central scored the final 2 scores of the game. So I think Eastside is legit in the NECC, as they usually are, and Adams Central just continues to prove that, yes, they are the team to beat once again in the ACAC. Adams Central will go to Muncie Central in a non-conference game next week. Eastside will host West Noble in a big NECC clash next week that will be very, very interesting.
Another one I want to talk about, the Bluffton Tigers, 45-6 over Manchester. Wasn't unexpected, but Axton Best, 5 total touchdowns. He had 3 through the air, and he scored 2 himself. But then Ethan Rivich, the kicker, 6 extra points and a field goal in that one. Now, he was the hero of the game the week before against Shenandoah when he booted a late fourth quarter field goal that provided the margin of victory for the Tigers. And Mr. Rivich is a freshman. So congratulations to him. And just imperfect, it looks like last night as well.
Very much so. You know, you feel a lot better as a coach when you have a kicker, right, at any level of football. And for the freshman to deliver once again was really, really impressive. And, you know, A.J. Strebler with another big game last night. He has 8 catches for the season, guys, and 4 of them have gone for touchdowns. So that's a pretty good percentage for the senior Strebler. And it now sets up Bluffton to start the ACAC season with South Adams next week in what should be a really, really good game, maybe a first to 50 type game with the way these two offenses have showed out, particularly South Adams last night. So congratulations to Bluffton. When we talk about who's challenging East Noble in the NE8, it's the same conversation in the ACAC. Who's going to be that team to challenge Adams Central? Bluffton wants to be it. South Adams wants to be it. And we'll find more about which one is closer to the Flying Jets next week when they meet in Bluffton.
Indeed. Other ACAC scores had Southern Wells falling to Blackhawk Christian 15-12. It was, as we said, South Adams blanking Belmont 53-0. Woodland gets a 31-8 victory over Central Noble. And it was Heritage in overtime over Delta 13-7. So those are the ACAC scores. And then heading to the Northeast Corner Conference, Justin, Garrett's starting out 0-2 on the season. They were beaten by DeKalb last night 28-7. And this is let's see how good DeKalb is, I guess. You know, still harkening back to the NE8, but not as much as Garrett's struggling, but DeKalb, how about them?
Very much so. This was the big win for DeKalb because they looked anemic offensively last week against Angola, and they have players, particularly Xavier Bell, on that offense. And they're like, okay, now they got to go to Garrett, and we know what Garrett was last year. Despite losing a lot to graduation, they were very competitive against Adams Central in week 1. And then Garrett gets up early 7-0. It's like, okay, here we go. But for what DeKalb was able to do, a battle of rookie coaches, Ryan Robertson and Chris Albertine, and what DeKalb was able to do, I think, really sets the tone in terms of maybe this being different with Coach Robertson with DeKalb, and they go to New Haven to open NE8 season next week. They have East Noble in week 4, but this is just year one for quote-unquote new DeKalb, and they're going to develop, and I think particularly physically. And this is a team that just couldn't match up with the best teams on their schedule year after year physically. And what they were able to do at Garrett was maybe step one towards that, because they were really able to instill its will, force some turnovers, and run away from the Railroaders.
Now, a team I want to ask you about in the NECC that we don't usually talk about is a bit of a juggernaut, but Fremont is 2-0, and they were the first team in Northeast Indiana to 100 points as they beat Blackford last night 63-21, and it was, Carmine Marino from Fremont had 5 touchdowns in the first half alone.
Carmine Moreno, one of the best running backs in the area that nobody knows about, and because he's at Fremont and just an absolutely beast of a running back, that's for sure. It's the first time since 2022 that Fremont has started 2-0, and that year in 2022 they beat Blackhawk Christian and Blackford, so similar wins to this year. Right? They beat Southern Wells and Blackford, in 2022. Then they didn't win another game until week 9 at Lake Station. So can this Fremont team be different? And I felt like what they were able to do last year, 4 wins, which was the first time they've reached 4 wins in quite some time, since 2019, was a very much of a step forward. And now Fremont goes to Angola next week, and then they have an out-of-conference game with Osceola Grace, and then they get Central Noble. So some time to build some momentum before they have Busco and Eastside in back-to-back weeks. Anything is possible for Coach Trevor Thomas's team. And while the competition maybe hasn't been the highest in the first 2 weeks, it does start to stiffen a little bit going to Angola. But this is a much better team than we're used to at Fremont. And last year they were very competitive, and perhaps they've taken a step forward again this season, guys.
Other scores around the NECC have Bronson, Michigan over Prairie Heights 31-16. It was Fairfield 38, Glen 20. Lakeland edges Cherubusco 14-12. West Noble 35, Wawasee 19, and Woodland, as we said earlier, over Central Noble 31-8. Well, Justin, and we were able to talk a little bit about some of these Week 3 matchups that are of some intrigue, and it should be another fun Friday night for high school football around Northeast Indiana this coming Friday. Where are you going to be at this coming Friday? Very good question. Bluffton and South Adams is in the conversation, but Northrop and Northside really looks like a fun game, particularly early in the season, and a chance to see Northrop. And I better settle in because that could be, first to 50 type game. So looking forward to 2-0 versus 2-0, Northrop and Northside. It is something different, and I'm looking forward to it next week over at Spuller Stadium.
Hey, just to let you know, Justin, that's the game I'm going to, so I know you like to avoid the games that I go to.
All right, so next week I'll be down in Bluffton for South Adams and the Bluffton Tigers.
So in other words, you're saying when DC comes back with a hot dog and a drink, there's not one for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's something we'll have to talk about off air.
And we can do that. Well, Justin, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And can we count on talking next week?
Yes, sir. See you then, fellas.
All right. Thank you so much. That was Justin Kenny from OPS and OutsideTheHuddle.net in our weekly chat about high school football and the results. And don't forget, Bishop Luers and Andrean go at it up in the region, up there tonight at 7 o'clock. Hopefully Garrett Wejack is excited about that, but go Knights. Anyway, hey, we're going to go ahead and step out, take a break, but then when we come back, we're going to be talking with Wayne Tincaps President Mike Nutter. We're going to do that when we return as their season, their home season is coming to a rapid end. We're going to be doing that when we return. You're listening to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
How How do you thank the people that add so much to our lives back? In 2022, McMahon's Best One gave more than $100,000 to local organizations that are always there to lift us up, to listen, to strengthen us, every one of us. Throughout the year, McMahon's Best One will continue to give back to the community that has given so much to us, bringing out the best in each other, together.
Tincaps fans, get ready. Catch the brand new Fort Wayne Tincaps pregame show with Derek Decker, airing live 30 minutes before every Tuesday through Friday home game. Only on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Get the inside scoop with player interviews, game previews, and everything you need to know before first pitch. Don't miss a moment of Tincaps baseball. Tune in before every home game, Tuesday through Friday, with Derek Decker on Fort Wayne Sports Station, your radio home for the Fort Wayne Tincaps.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Summer's almost over, but the heat is pressing on. If you've got battery trouble, stop by AutoZone for free battery testing. It may just need a charge, and we'll do that for free too. If you do need a battery, we've got options starting at just $89.99. And we'll recycle your old battery for free. Now that's a strong start. Don't miss the end of summer sale. Now at AutoZone until September 22nd. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Get the latest knife info from one of the country's premium knife shops, Blade Man's Knife Shop at the Shops of Scott Road. There's a reason customers drive hours just to shop at Blade Man's in Fort Wayne.
Hi, this is Mark, the owner of Blade Man's Knife Shop, and I'd like to personally invite you out to the store to see the area's best selection of quality knives. We have Benchmade, Spyderco, Microtech, ProTech, Hogue, Zero Tolerance, Medford Knife and Tool, ADV Tactical, Tour Knives, and many more. We also have a great selection of custom knives. At Blade Man's, we specifically select top quality products for the best in customer satisfaction. There's a difference with top brands, and at Blade Man's, we'll take the time to explain how materials and production results in a better knife for your needs, all in a relaxed, pressure-free, consultative environment. We update our online inventory daily so you know you're ordering in-stock product that will be shipped within one business day. So check us out on BladeMansKnifeShop.com or stop by the store in the Shops of Scout Road and have a cup of coffee on me.
Be in the know and follow Blade Man's on Facebook and Instagram today. 10% discount to police and military, and now you can see the collection of Shun knives, the finest in kitchen cutlery, available at Blade Man's Knife Shop in the Shops of Scott Road.
It seems like it took forever for summer to finally arrive, but when it did, oh my, what a cooker we've had during these last couple of months. And I'm sure it's been a test on your car's air conditioner. Do you know if you're not getting ice cold air, or it just seems like it has to run and run and run to even make it comfortable in your car? Maybe it's time to get that air conditioner serviced, and you do that by taking it to where I take my car, Cruzy Automotive Service. Cruzy Automotive Service has been in business for over 40 years, and they're true professionals when it comes to air conditioning service. Plus, Cruzy Automotive Service is the place to go for your oil change. You know, you just mentioned this ad, and you can get an oil change, 5-quart regular oil for as low as $19.99. That's at Cruzy Automotive Service Center. They're conveniently located on Limer Road, north of Wallen, south of Till, right behind the Shell gas station. For any kind of routine service or maintenance on your vehicle, all makes, all models, you can trust Cruzy Automotive Service. 489-1089. Call Cruzy, K-R-U-S-E, today.
O'Daniel Auto Group is doing it again. This time it's even bigger than ever before. The O'Daniel Labor Day Super Sale. No, it doesn't happen on Labor Day. O'Daniel will be closed all weekend to allow our employees to spend time with their families. That means the Friday before and the Tuesday after Labor Day will be our legendary Super Sale days at every O'Daniel location for 2 days only. 2 huge days of savings, and nothing will be held back. Don't buy anything anywhere without checking our specials both Friday and Tuesday. No hassles, unbelievable selection, and simply the best deals in town without having to waste your weekend. 2 huge days of savings, the Friday before and the Tuesday after Labor Day, only at every O'Daniel location. O'Daniel Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Illinois Road, O'Daniel Auto Mart Mazda on Illinois Road, and O'Daniel Ford in New Haven. Or shop online anytime at o'danielauto.com.
Because this is a 2-day only sale, pricing on our websites may not reflect the actual savings posted on the vehicles Friday or Tuesday for our legendary 2-day super sale, which ends this Tuesday when the last customer is served.
Now back to Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. That's DC Hendricks. I'm Jim Shovlin. Thanks for tuning in as we're talking local sports of all sorts until the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. If you'd like to be part of the show, you can do so via the text line at 260-447-8500, 260-447-8500. And especially if you have a baseball-related question or a Tincaps or a Parkview Field-related question, because on the Talkin Sports phone line, powered by Fire Police City County Federal Credit Union, is Fort Wayne Tincaps President Mike Nutter. Mike, good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's like clockwork. I can count on awesome music coming back from the break every week, and he did it again with Under Pressure.
Yep, DC is the maestro when it comes to, and then he keeps telling me, you know, Chevy, I want you to give me some maybe 70s tunes and things like this. And just,
we can do that for him.
Yeah.
Just find that youngster. We can get him all caught up.
Yeah. He's kind of an old soul, though. He's got his roots in some of the old Motown and some of the 70s things. So, yeah, we get along. So, anyway, let's talk some Tincaps baseball. And I guess right off the top, Mike, let's talk about Keith Winter. Keith Winter is retiring after tomorrow's game, which, by the way, is a night game with fireworks instead of the typical early afternoon game. So mark your calendars accordingly for that. But let's talk a little bit about Keith Winter.
Absolutely. He joined us in 2010. He's a dear friend. He's a great worker, the most accomplished groundskeeper in the history of minor league baseball, and the most awarded field in the history of minor league baseball. And so it's been an amazing 16-year run. He's leaving. It's his time. It was his decision. I mean, we're all lined up on it, but, you know, everything has been great. And it's been an absolute honor working with him all this time. Multiple fields of the year, multiple groundskeepers of the year. Like we say, every hardware you can get. Playing surface of the year, not just for minor league baseball one time, but including all the major leagues. He oversaw the renovation a couple years ago, off seasons ago, when we replaced the whole field. Absolutely great. And now it's time for Jake Sperry and Bryce Ginder to move up in their respective roles, and Jake will take over, and Bryce will be his assistant. And there's a lot of great memories. And tomorrow after the game, you know, we're going to do a quick video and honor the guy, because it's been a labor of love. He's been through personal and professional stuff, and he's continued to perform. And it's absolutely great to look back on all the stuff that we got to accomplish together. And as the president and general manager, never had to worry about the field and would it be looking good and would it be playable and all that kind of stuff. And so it's what we do in this business. We promote guys, you know, a lot of times to Double-A San Antonio or all the way up to the big leagues. But in this case, we're saying well done to one and telling the next couple of guys, hey, it's your turn now. And Keith's leaving on the best of terms. He's still available. He's going to work with us through the end of September to get everything ready for Fort for Fitness and to put us in the best chance to succeed for next year. But again, it's Jake and Bryce's field here in another few days, and everybody's excited about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can remember, back in the day when Mitch McCleary was taking such great care of the fields, and I believe either at Memorial Stadium and then a little bit at Parkview Field, if I'm not mistaken. But then when he left, people are thinking, oh, no, what are they going to do? Well, Keith Winter elevates, and, oh, my goodness, as you said, with the accolades, not a step was missed. So congratulations, Keith Winter.
We're going to try and do that again.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about the last two home games of the Tincaps regular season. Saturday night, tonight, fireworks. Tomorrow, the Jackson Merrill bobblehead, plus fireworks, and as you said, kind of a little tribute to Keith Winter as well.
Absolutely. You know, the team's limping to the finish line, haven't been able to score much. Pitching's been great, but the weather's been even better. And so we have celebrated the last couple of nights up against great high school football matchups, around 6,400 fans, similar number the night before. I would expect similar numbers tonight and tomorrow, right around 6,000. And we joke not everybody can go to the lake. And so we're back at it tonight, 6:35, our standard Saturday night time. Come on out and celebrate with us one more time. Then tomorrow, 6:05, regular season finale, Jackson Merrill bobblehead, fireworks, and a cool thing. Jackson Merrill's a young superstar in baseball, already made an all-star game at the age of 21. His parents are coming out tomorrow night from Baltimore, Maryland. They're going to be at the game today and tomorrow. We had such great fun with Jackson and his parents when they were around, and they're going to help hand out his bobblehead tomorrow night. I bet that's a pretty cool feeling.
How cool is that?
Yeah, but there's a lot of excitement, and so they'll be around town today and tomorrow, probably going to the zoo and eating at some of our great restaurants and having fun. And then for Morgan and I, it was a chance to reconnect with some great people. And so they'll be out with us tomorrow. Again, tickets available each night. Lots of fun. Should be a great last couple of days. Again, weather, we battled it April and May, and then all of a sudden it was like the Sahara Desert downtown for a few weeks. But this week, a true blessing in the 70s every day, cooler nights, no rain, lots of fun and lots of memories being made to close it out.
Mike, talk a little bit about, I know Michael King had pitched a simulated game. Now, talk a little bit and explain simulated games to those that are unfamiliar.
Yeah, so Michael King is one of the young aces in baseball. He was the Padres' opening day starter this year, a one- or a two-time All-Star already. He came over from the Yankees in the Juan Soto deal, so didn't come through the Midwest League, wasn't a Tincaps player. But he's a guy, if the Padres are going to make a run, he's probably the game one starter in the playoffs, and he's injured. And so he came back from an arm injury and tweaked something in his lower body. I believe it was in his knee. And so we got a call, I think it goes all the way back to last Sunday, and they said, hey, there's a chance with the Padres playing in Minneapolis that there's going to be some unique stuff going on. Right away, I reached out to our friends with the Padres and said, I understand there's a chance for Michael King. Obviously, we would take care of him. And then you know me, I'm always going to ask. I said, is there any chance of Jackson Merrill? And there was a couple of days this week, Jim, where I thought there was an opportunity that maybe Jackson would be playing for us last night and tonight. Again, we were never told it was happening. I want to make that very, very clear.
Right.
But if things would have lined up and he was just a little closer to playing in game action, I think he would have been back in that Tincaps home white, which would have been absolutely unbelievable. They sent him to Arizona instead to get some more treatment. Hopefully Jackson's back next week in the big leagues in San Diego, just not quite ready to go yet. And then Michael King is working his way back, and they got a hold of us and said, hey, on Friday, we wish we could put him in the game, and sell another 500 tickets and that kind of stuff. But we need him to throw a simulated game against the Tincaps hitters. The field was all done up like it was a game. The hitters were out there. The fielders were out there. And Michael King threw a 4-inning simulated game yesterday. I think his pitch count was around 60 or 70. He was one of the nicest guys I've ever met, so complimentary of the ballpark and the places they stayed the night before and the place they went to breakfast, and just kept saying, man, like, Fort Wayne's a great, sleepy town. I didn't know much about it type of thing. And we're not surprised that they loved Fort Wayne and they loved the ballpark, but they were in and out. He did like the rehab guys do a lot of times. He took care of the home team last night with an absolutely unbelievable meal. And throughout the day, he was gracious. He rented a food truck, like a coffee truck, and offered it up to all the Tincaps players and staff, as well as the Dayton Dragons guys. And so a lot of people were flying high on some good coffee last night. And it's neat for us. Has the season gone the way we had hoped or wanted on the field? No, it hasn't. But our affiliation relationship, they're sending the guy in. They left saying, obviously nobody ever likes the guys getting hurt, but we've established ourselves with Yu Darvish last year, Blake Snell the year before, Michael King yesterday. When the schedule lines up and they're trying to get guys back to the big leagues and the big league teams in the Midwest or the East Coast, I think we're going to continue to see some major league talent, which is really, really cool.
That is great. These are the stories that we otherwise don't get to hear, and I love that.
Well, we wanted to tell everybody he was coming, but we just had to keep it under wraps. So,
sure.
Because, again, he was unbelievable for us. But they want to make sure sometimes, because a couple fans last night asked, why couldn't he pitch in the game? And I said, it's a great question. And, again, I want to be clear. It's not Michael specific, but, they just want to make sure he was ready to take that next step. Mm-hmm. You don't want to promote somebody and then they're unable to go or, different things like that. So it was a little more controlled. We did have a player get a hit off of him, which was kind of neat for, our guys, and then it was a great event, and we're going to wrap it up tonight and tomorrow night with another successful year downtown.
Mike, thank you so much for joining us each and every Saturday morning during the Tincaps season. I know that your schedule is extremely full, but you took time for us, and we deeply, deeply appreciate it. And giving our listeners the information necessary. So with that, and I'm sure that with all the activity going on at Parkview Field in the off season, we'll want to talk some more during the off season as well if you're up for that. But thank you. I just want to thank you personally.
You're welcome. I consider you a friend. I love DC. It works for us. We absolutely love it, and I can't wait to keep the thing rolling next year. And I'll talk to you a few times in the off season.
Sounds great, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Mike Nutter, president of the Fort Wayne Tincaps, in our weekly Tincaps chat. We're going to go ahead and step out, take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking to Mike McCaffrey, athletic director at the University of St. Francis. Big home game today for the Cougs against the Tigers of Campbellsville, Kentucky. That's a noon kickoff in the Adam Sherman era. We'll talk about that when we return. You're listening to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. On 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. Have you looked at your auto or homeowner's insurance rate lately? Think it's about time to get a competitive quote? Call the Wise Insurance Agency today at 260-747-5373. Located at 7410 Bluffton Road, Wise Insurance is a local company that's been in business for 25 years. Being an independent agent working with over 15 A-plus rated carriers allows Coach Ron Wise to assess your needs and determine the best option for you to give you maximum coverage with the most affordable premiums. The Wise Insurance Agency also offers motorcycle, RV, and watercraft insurance, as well as renter's insurance, flood, and umbrella policies. Multi-policy discounts are also available, and make sure to ask Ron about the good student discount up to 20%. Let Coach Wise show you the fundamentals of getting the right insurance. Don't put it off. Contact Coach Ron and the Wise Insurance Agency team today at 260-747-5373 or find them online at thewiseinsuranceagency.com.
Now on My Deals Fort Wayne, Coterie Pizza. Coterie Pizza, where friends and flavors meet. Enjoy their unique and classic pizzas from an Italian stone oven with a self-pour beer wall and plenty of seating. Certificates are limited. Head over to MyDealsFortWayne.com to claim your deal today. Now on My Deals Fort Wayne, Coterie Pizza. Coterie Pizza, where friends and flavors meet. Enjoy their unique and classic pizzas from an Italian stone oven with a self-pour beer wall and plenty of seating. Certificates are limited. Head over to MyDealsFortWayne.com to claim your deal today.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Now back to Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. Along with DC Hendricks, I'm Jim Shovlin. Thanks for tuning in as we're talking local sports of all sorts until the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. Let's go right to the Talkin Sports phone line, powered by Fire Police City County Federal Credit Union, because on there is University of St. Francis Athletic Director Mike McCaffrey, back for yet another season of enduring us on Talkin Sports. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Jimmy. My favorite day of the year. Back with you on the radio, my man.
Oh, I'll tell you what, mine too. And a big one already right out of the chute in the Adam Sherman era. Number 20, Campbellsville University out of Kentucky. The Tigers come calling for a noon kickoff against the number 24 rated University of St. Francis Cougars. What can people expect today if they come out to the game in this beautiful sun-drenched Saturday, aside from the return of the pep band?
Yeah, yeah, we're excited for that. It's it's been a few years since we started ranked in the top 25. Obviously our postseason run last year is kind of what they based this year's rankings off of. Campbellsville finished 9-1 last year. I think just missed out on the playoffs, and obviously we got back to the playoffs and went down to Southwestern for an opening round game and came up just short. But great to have a top 25 matchup here at Darcy Stadium to start off the season. As you said, we moved this one up to noon. All the other ones will be 1 o'clock, but this one went to noon because Campbellsville traveled last night, and we just want to get them out of here a little earlier to get them back home. So noon kickoff for the first one this year, and then we'll go to 1 o'clock after this. But, Pep Band is back. So Sister Mary John ended up sending out some inquiries across campus to some students and people who wanted to maybe reignite our Pep Band a little bit, and she got a great response. So we're going to have about 15 to 20 people up there with the fight song and playing a little music here during timeouts. And it'll be great to have them back in the stadium.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah. And the atmosphere at Darcy Stadium, if you've never been to a Cougar game, number one, why? And number two, get on out there because it's a lot of fun and it's pretty darn good football, too, at the collegiate level. So, and with Adam Sherman's first game as the head coach, of course, he's got a lot of players returning, including Josh Kulka and guys like Marquise Cross on the defensive side of the ball. But there again, what can we expect on the field?
Yeah, I think you're going to have a lot of familiar faces back from last year, which is a good thing for us. When you can bring your starting quarterback back who had as successful years he did last year, that's a good thing. He's still got some targets in Dandridge and McKeechin and Adam Smith to throw to. David Smith and Drew Wheat and Hassan Lambert are still in the backfield. And then you mentioned the defense where Marquise Cross and A.J. Moore are still there rushing the passer, and bring a guy like James Matthews back who played 2 years ago and then missed last year just due to some credit issues and had to stay ineligible for a year but came back this year. And in the secondary, Tamara Springfield is our top corner and one of our captains. And the offensive line is where we lost a couple people, but with Colin Butler and Bronson Coy and those guys coming back, Butler being a junior, Coy is fifth-year senior. A lot of experience up there, a lot of games played. But this is no easy task when you start the season with a team like Campbellsville, so we're going to get tested early. I think if you're watching preseason, as most times defense is a little ahead of the offense, I think our defense has a chance to be really special given what they did last year and all the guys coming back. And offensively, it may take us a little bit to get rolling, but when Josh Kolka is the guy slinging the rock, you've got a pretty good shot to put some points up.
That is correct, yeah. And, of course, I guess on the positive side of the ledger, too, this is Campbellsville's first game of the season as well. So, nobody has any more experience than the other in that regard. Well, if somebody wants to come out, Mike, what are tickets and how do you secure those?
Well, you can either get them online on our website, which is the easiest way if you're sitting at home right now and thinking about coming out. Just jump on our website under the ticket link, and you can purchase them there, and then we'll scan you when you come in, or we do take cash at the gate. So you can get them either way. If you want to come and bring your cash, you can get them here. But if you want to do it online before you get here, go ahead and do that. They're $15 for adults, and at the gate, $10 for seniors and students, and then all children under 12, or as we've done the last several years, all children under 12 get in free. To all of our athletic events. We want to make sure that the kids can come out and enjoy the game so we don't charge them. But, hopefully a good crowd. We've got a beautiful weather, beautiful start to the morning. As always, from an administrator, a few hiccups when your play clock guy texts you last night and tells you he broke his upper arm refereeing a basketball game. So we're going to have to adjust a little bit up in the press box and hope our boy Wes is feeling good and back back soon. Yeah.
Come on, Wes.
Wes Beeman. Yeah, he can't sit still, that guy, I've learned. He's doing all sorts of stuff even when he's not here working for us. And he emailed at about 8:30 last night and said, hey, I'm not going to be able to make the game. I broke my upper arm refereeing last night. It was probably football, not basketball. I probably misspoke. But he was refereeing a game and broke his upper arm. So we've got to go to the bullpen and bring somebody in to cover him today.
Oh, come on, Wes. You got to be a gamer. Hey, I remember several years ago I had knee surgery. I had microfracture surgery on my knee, and I thought, no, I still want to PA the game. And so I'm on crutches, and you had to get an offensive lineman who wasn't dressing that day to follow me up the bleachers. So in case I fell backwards, he would catch me and put me upright and get me back going up the stairs. So
nothing was going to keep you from the press box, my friend. We just had to get you there safe.
Yeah, exactly. So, once I got there, I settled in for 4 hours. Yeah, so
you're going to have to give Wes a little nonsense next time you see him and tell him what it's really like to be a Cougar game day worker.
Oh, it goes without saying. Yeah. Well, hey, we got about 2 minutes left, Mike. What are some of the other fall sports that are getting underway?
Yeah, so soccer, volleyball, all underway. All have wins under their belt at this point in time. We started a couple weeks ago. Volleyball hosted their big onset tournament here in Fort Wayne over at the Coliseum. Got a couple wins there. Men's soccer, women's soccer, each on the board with a win over Defiance. And so, we're rocking and rolling. We've been going for a couple weeks now, and we're finishing up our first week of classes, so everybody's kind of getting into their routines and figuring out what this is going to look like now the school started. And we have a soccer game tonight at 6, so if you come for football and just want to go get a bite to eat and hang out and then come back at 6 o'clock to watch our women's soccer team coached by Ken Newber, we'd love it.
There we go. Well, Mike, thank you so much. Welcome back.
Yes, sir.
This is great, and I can't wait. I'm leaving right after the show's over, heading right over to the press box, so I can't wait to get started for this year as well. So I'll see you shortly.
Sounds good, my man. See you soon, and great to be back with you again.
All right. That was Mike McCaffrey, athletic director of the University of St. Francis, in our weekly Cougar chat during the season. So it's going to be a lot of fun this year, and go Cougs. So that's going to do it for Talkin Sports for a Saturday, the last Saturday in August, at least August 30th. Many thanks to Justin Kenny from OPS and OutsideTheHuddle.net for joining us. Also, Mike Nutter, president of the Fort Wayne Tincaps, and Mike McCaffrey, athletic director at the University of St. Francis, in our weekly Cougar chat. Thanks, as always, to Mr. D.C. Hendricks for keeping it all smooth. And thanks to you, the listener, for tuning in each and every Saturday morning for Talkin Sports. We appreciate you. So, until next week, have a great week, everybody.
Podcasts by Federated Media.